The Roblox IPO is finally here after all this time, and whether or not you're interested in investing in Roblox, this is important to pay attention to. And that's because Roblox, with how hot it is, it's a good measure of risk appetite in the market. So if we see this IPO come out and this stock price shoots higher and higher day after day, then that's actually a good sign for the rest of the market. But if it doesn't do that, then that's a bad sign, because you can see what type of market we're in right now. It is getting extremely volatile. We are seeing action that is just insane. One day we're down 3%, the next day we're up 4%, and it's just very volatile right now. And this volatility happens when the market is shaky. So again, something like the Roblox IPO, it becomes important to track because it gives us an indicator of what might happen next in the broader market. So whether you want to invest or not, you should be paying attention. And the reason Roblox is such a hot IPO is because of what it represents for our future and technology. So that's what we're going to break down in this video, and of course what it means for your money. And this whole story about Roblox is a little complicated because if you're watching this, you're likely old. Like me, I'm old, and I'm not even that old, but I'm old enough because Roblox is really centered on Gen Z. And if you're not Gen Z, then it's very hard to understand what Gen Z is doing. Let me just give you an example of how Gen Z grew up. You guys remember this video back when it showed a baby using an iPad just so fluently, which it took the rest of us a while. And then it shows the baby trying to do the same thing on a magazine because it just doesn't understand what the heck is this thing. It's not interactive. This is not an iPad. Same thing with another magazine. What the heck? I can't swipe. Now this video right here is from 2011. So this little baby is what, like 10 or 11 by this point. And that is who is powering something like Roblox. And it's very important to understand here how differently that baby and Gen Z grew up compared to the rest of us. Why can little babies just use electronics so easily like an iPad? And what does that mean for technology now as they grow older? So that's the thing to keep in mind as we're going through this Roblox idea, that just the way these kids see the world is way different than the way we see it because of technology and how they grew up. All right, but what is Roblox? You probably know it's a video game, right? But it's a little bit more than that, actually a lot more. Ben Thompson from Stratechery had a great article about Roblox. He's doing a whole series on it, so we'll use some stuff from him. And here's how Roblox describes their business in their S1, which is basically what they file to go public. So an average of 36.2 million people from around the world come to Roblox every day to connect with friends. They play, they learn, they communicate, explore, and expand friendships all in a 3D digital world that is entirely user-generated. It's built by their community of nearly 7 million active developers. They call this the human co-experience, which the company considers to be the new form of social interaction that they envisioned back in 2004. So this has been a long time coming. The platform is powered by user-generated content and draws inspiration from gaming, entertainment, social media, and even toys. So here's an article from Wall Street Journal that explains a little more. Basically, you could jump onto the platform and there are tens of millions of multiplayer games. There's obstacle courses, there's capture the flag contests, and there's often popular characters like Peppa Pig or Sonic the Hedgehog. And Roblox provides free tools and instructions that players that don't have to know how to code, they can build their own stuff in the game. So here's an example right here. Escape the evil butcher shop. And those are little knives coming up and down and you got to get through it. This is just one of the levels and this was created by somebody. And you can see the graphics here are really nothing special. And this is why I never played Roblox. I didn't quite get it. And it's also because I'm old, as I already said. But this lack of graphics is actually a feature and not a bug, as you'll see in a second as we explain it. So the big thing to understand about Roblox right off the bat is that it is not just a game. They are thinking way, way bigger than that. If you've heard the buzzword metaverse recently, it applies to this, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what Ben Thompson talks about here is the actual evolution of media that's happening because of technology. Now you can see here he has a bunch of different examples like news, photos, TV, radio, how they've all transformed over time. Pictures have become Instagram. News has become a feed that you scroll through. Radio is now Clubhouse. TV is TikTok. And they went through iterations along the way, right? Like Facebook to Instagram, a blog post article to a feed, YouTube to TikTok, radio to MP3 to Clubhouse. So what does this look like for video games then? So step 0 was the pre-internet, right? And the primary way to get video games was through consoles. And this was directed by console makers. This was like the newspaper era of video game publishing. Then we got into more democratization. This is step 1. The internet made it possible to distribute games directly, meaning anyone can create them and shoot them out to people over the internet. And then we got increases in broadband speed, meaning faster internet, which made it even better. We had cloud gaming and it was all way more accessible. And then we took another big step in accessibility. This is step 2, aggregation, because mobile gaming blew up. So now all of a sudden, if you have a phone, you have a video game system. So basically everyone has one. So that was a huge increase in the potential market because everyone can be a player. And of course, there's more opportunity opportunity to play games, people spending more time on it. And you can easily get it through an app store. That's where all the games were coming through. But now we're moving into step 3, which is a transformation. Now this is where the whole medium becomes something completely different because of the internet. And this is very different than what's been happening before. Because if you look at this chart that I showed you up here, it's just transforming one thing from a pre-internet world into the internet world, right? A photo to Instagram. So Ben gives an example here. A blog post was really just an article, but online, right? An Instagram post is just a photo, but online. And a YouTube video is just a TV episode. A podcast is just a radio show. It's just changing the medium a bit, right? But then the final step is actually a transformation, creating something entirely new that was simply not possible previously. And this, of course, is very hard to imagine, especially for us older guys, because we're thinking, yes, put an article online, that makes sense. But what can be created that could have never been done before because of a new technology that's not similar to anything before? And this new transformation is where Roblox is headed. And it's debatable, but it might already be there. And this is where we connect to the idea of the metaverse. So the metaverse is basically a term used for the idea of a persistent shared 3D virtual space, like a virtual universe. So the best example I could give you of a metaverse is like The Matrix, the movie. If it wasn't being controlled by robots and all that, take all that out. But think about jacking in like you're Neo and then you're in this space where you could do anything. The whole virtual second life, that's kind of the metaverse. And that is where Roblox actually sits. So there's a number of key characteristics of the Roblox platform that makes it able to do this. One is identity. Every single user, you create your own character, right? So you have a unique identity in the form of avatars. So you could express yourself, you could be whoever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. Then another important part is friends. Your friends got to be on the platform too. So you could basically live your life virtually. You got some friends from the real world and then people that you meet on there too. The experience is very immersive. They consistently improve the graphics and everything is becoming realer and realer. And this is coming from Roblox once again. This isn't Ben Thompson. They're saying that their experiences will become increasingly engaging and indistinguishable from the real world. People from anywhere can access it. It is a global game from every country. Low friction. Anyone can set up an account. It's real easy even on your phone. Variety of content. Like we said before, the way they make levels and stuff and the way you play the game is playing the games that other people created. But it's all done within the Roblox platform. There's actually even a vibrant economy within the game itself. And it's all built on a currency called Robux. So if you have those Robux, you could pay creators to play their levels. And then there's even safety aspects like laws, things you can and cannot do so that everyone stays safe. So again, the idea here is build an entire world, an entire life virtually. So as Ben Thompson says, in short, Roblox isn't a game at all. It's a world in which one of the things you can do is play games. And it's interesting because that economy is real. Like you can make real money there. So Wall Street Journal explains Roblox outsources game development to its own players. And those players, who are mainly teens and preteens, they produce their own hits. Like sometimes everybody loves a single level and they're all playing it. And those guys who produced it, they earn a 70% share of the revenue their work generates. So really they're like YouTube, except their content is games. And their content allows everyone to play together. So think about the YouTube model. YouTube doesn't actually produce content. Well, now they do somewhat, but originally the idea is that all the users produce content. That's why I'm on the platform, right? So it's some of that same idea applied to games in Roblox, but of course it's even bigger than that. And just to show that you can make real money there, one of the programmers made about $600,000 last year from his Roblox creations, which was up from $30,000 in 2019. Now, as I showed you in this video, you're probably thinking, oh, this does not really look that great. And yeah, I agree, and this is why I didn't play it, right? But as I said before, these bad graphics are actually a feature and not a bug. And that's what Ben Thompson talks about here, that it's not actually a metaverse, it's more like a microverse. Roblox really doesn't connect to the rest of the world. You can only do things within its platform. But there's a benefit from that, because by controlling everything in Roblox, they could bring every single different app together. Apps for chatting, for purchases, for everything else, they're all in the same place. So it is one universe. And this all makes Roblox easier to develop. And another thing that goes into that is that they constrain the graphics. It's not that they can't get better graphics than this, it's just that they don't, because they're trying to constrain the graphics to have a consistent toolbox that is very easy to build something new with. So the restrictions that you see in Roblox are actually good, and it helps build the universe. As Ben says, this creates the conditions for the interlocking feedback loops that characterize transformational products, because that's what we're looking for in Roblox, right? Step 3, transformation. This is going to become a whole new thing that we couldn't imagine before. By reducing the prominence and feature set of games, Roblox made it possible to create something bigger, a microverse. And this fits the the pattern for transformational products like the feed, for example, like your Facebook feed. It relies on reducing all types of content from posts to photos to links to videos, all to the same format so that they can fit into that timeline. Basically, they're incorporated into a greater whole. Constraints can be good, just like Twitter. When they realized the 140 character constraint, everyone loved it. But this is also what I was talking about. They really aren't the metaverse just yet, because the metaverse basically connects everyone and everything all virtually. But they are the step towards the metaverse. And another similar company doing the same thing is Epic with Fortnite. So companies like Roblox and Fortnite, they're thinking about, again, not just the game, but can we have concerts in this space? Can we have virtual learning? Can we have conferences? And the game is just the stepping block towards that. And we're still far away from that giant metaverse because technology needs to catch up as well, or it needs to improve. But this is the idea that investors are thinking about when they look at the Roblox IPO. It's not just this game with these blocky people. It's much more than that. So then we got a few questions, right? Should you invest in this IPO? And then also, how is the market liking it? Well, part of their financials look really good. Like their quarterly revenue has jumped a lot, especially during the pandemic as everyone jumped online, right? Only time you could be social is through video games when you're under lockdown, which applies to kids and even adults. I've been on Call of Duty nonstop this last year because that's how I could see my friends. It's the same concept. So revenue has jumped, but the company is not profitable. Their net loss in 2020 ballooned to $253.3 million from $71 million a year earlier. And that's because the company has plans to keep investing in its platform, which, like I said, they want to use for long distance learning, conferences, and other group experiences such as concerts. So it's another unprofitable company IPOing. You know, what's new? We've had this for years now. But again, that's not what investors are looking at. They're looking at that long-term future, the vision for this company. So how does the market like it? Well, let's look at the stock price. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. No, I'm kidding. There's nothing there because I'm too early with this video, so I don't know how the price is reacting on the first day just yet. But that doesn't much matter to what I'm going to say, because when it comes to IPOs, I don't really understand why people get in on the first day. It's basically gambling at that point, because what you want to do is wait to see how the market reacts. And one good way to do that is wait for a base to form. So one good example we can use, because, you know, Roblox hasn't played out fully yet, is Palantir, which was another popular IPO that came out last year. You can see on the first day that the IPO happened, we had a pretty wide range of prices. So if you were buying here, I mean, I don't necessarily know what you are doing because there's no real strategy there, at least in my opinion, for how I trade. So you could see that it went sideways for a period of time until it finally shot higher. So when I'm talking about looking for a base, what you can do is just wait for the IPO to play out, like I was saying. So look what it forms. It forms a little channel here, right? It's basically compressing. And then when it's ready, it will launch higher and you can still get great gains. And you can see I've tracked this before. Another compression happened and another explosion. And now it's kind of consolidating. And in this case with Palantir, we saw something okay happen in the beginning, a consolidation sideways, and then it launched higher. But this isn't guaranteed. This could have launched lower too. You really don't know, and that's why you gotta wait. Because the truth is, in the markets, even though we have this grand theory for Roblox, it doesn't matter what we think. It matters what other people think, what other investors are doing. Because in the markets, you always gotta play the player. If you buy a stock that no one else is buying, how is the price ever gonna go up? You're not gonna make money. That's why it pays to wait and watch a bit and see how things play out before you're jumping in. And as far as what this IPO means for the general market, we once again gotta wait and see how this plays out. And it's not gonna be based off the first day's action. Whether this thing pops high or drops low doesn't matter as much. We should wait a week, 2 weeks, see what the trend actually is. You can't tell the trend off of one day. And that is a better signal for the market. So I think Roblox is supposed to list at $45, and then we could kind of watch what it does from there. And over time, you'll see it indicate the risk appetite for the general market. Right now, the general market is up, and it looks like it is recovering from this volatility, but we're not out of the woods yet. Roblox is actually IPOing in a very stressful time in the market. So it'll be interesting to see how it acts. Like I said, the market is super volatile right now and very crazy. And on that note, if you're investing in Roblox or really anything, like if you have any money in the stock market, then you need to watch this video right here. It's the most important video that I made for investors right now in this market, and also for what we're going to see over the next few years. If you want to make sure to stay profitable but protected also in this market, then definitely click this video right here, and I will see you there.